My wife said nothing would justify what I did to our son. Then I showed her what I found on his computer. I found something on my son's laptop that made me pick up the phone and dial 911 without a second thought. 2 officers showed up at our house an hour later and walked my 16-year-old out of his bedroom in handcuffs while he screamed that he would kill me for this. My wife ran outside in her bathrobe and tried to physically stop the officers from putting him in the car. "What did you do?" she screamed at me while our neighbors watched from their porches. "What did you do to our son?" I told her I found something on his computer that I had to report, and she slapped me across the face so hard my ear started ringing. "You better hope they let him come home," she said, "because if they don't, I will never forgive you for as long as I live." My wife filed for divorce before the week was over and told me she wanted me out of the house immediately. "You are not the man I married," she said, while she threw my clothes into garbage bags. "The man I married would have protected his family no matter what." I tried to tell her she needed to hear what I found before she made any decisions, and she picked up a lamp and threw it at my head. "There is not one thing that would justify sending our son to jail," she screamed. "Now get out before I call the cops on you." My son sent me a letter from juvenile detention that said he hoped I died slowly and painfully and that he would spit on my grave. My mother showed up at the apartment I was renting and collapsed against my door, sobbing. "Those scary people are going to destroy him in there," she wailed. "He's just a baby, and you sent him to rot with real criminals." My father called and told me I was no longer his son. "You're a rat," he said. "You're a coward and a traitor, and I wish your mother had never given birth to you." My wife's brother even showed up at my job and threatened to beat me to death in the parking lot if I ever came near their family again. I lost that job a week later because my boss said I was causing too much drama. I let all of them keep believing I was a monster because I knew the truth was worse than anything they could imagine. The truth was that my son had been running a blackmail operation against girls at his high school for over 2 years. I found over 400 photos and videos of these girls on his computer, along with messages where he threatened to send everything to their parents and post it online unless they did whatever he wanted. There were 23 victims, and the youngest one was 12 years old. He would tell them he loved them and manipulate them into sending pictures, and then he would threaten to destroy their entire lives unless they kept giving him more. One girl had tried to off herself because of what he was doing to her. When I finally sat my wife down and made her read every single message, she was silent for almost 5 minutes. "He needs help," she finally said. "You should have gotten him help instead of sending him to prison." I felt something snap inside my chest. "One of those girls almost died because of our son," I said. "She was in a coma for 3 days and she's going to be in therapy for the rest of her life. She was 14 years old and our son thought it was funny." My wife started crying, but I kept going. I thought about that girl's father. I thought about him sitting next to her hospital bed, not knowing if she was going to wake up. And I thought about what I would want someone to do if it was our daughter lying in that bed. I stood up from the table. I would want that parent to pick up the phone and stop him. So that's what I did. My son spent 3 years in a juvenile facility and came out a completely different person. He showed up at my door last month with tears in his eyes and told me that I saved him from becoming something he never would have been able to come back from.